Combs has been found guilty on 2 counts, but acquitted of the most serious charges. The music mogul was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution, but the jury found him not guilty on 3 counts related to racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. According to NPR, here is, according to NPR, and I'll get into the story in a moment. And here's an artist's sketch of Sean Combs reacts as the jury foreperson and courtroom deputy read the verdicts of the 5 counts against him during Combs' sex trafficking trial in New York City. In the courtroom sketch, okay? The music mogul was found guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. So that's the drawing. That's the best we can bring because the cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom. All right, let me get into the story here. Caution: this report includes mentions of sexual and physical and sexual violence. According to NPR, a federal jury in Manhattan has found Sean Combs, the hip-hop mogul, also known as Diddy or Puff Daddy, guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He was found not guilty of 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking. The jury deliberated for 13 hours before announcing their split decision after the trial that began on May 5. Prosecutors in the Southern District of New York were not able to successfully argue to the jury that their 2 prime witnesses, Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura, and another former girlfriend who testified under the pseudonym Jane, had not participated consensually in the sex and drug marathons that Combs variously referred to as freak-offs, hotel nights, or Wild King nights. Combs did not take the stand in his own defense, nor did his team of lawyers present any witnesses. Instead, they pointed to hundreds of texts and social media posts in which Ventura and Jane often expressed enthusiasm for those sessions. Despite the women later saying on the stand that they felt pressured and manipulated into planning and participating in them, these relationships, the defense team argued, were toxic and perhaps abusive, but failed to meet the government standards of federal criminality. The prosecution was also unable to prove to the 12-person jury that Combs had run a criminal conspiracy or an organized crime syndicate with the racketeering charge. Now, had he been found guilty of that, he probably would face about 40 years in prison. They had accused Combs of several related crimes within this charge, including forced labor, bribery, and obstruction of justice. In recent years, federal prosecutors have applied racketeering, also known as RICO charges, quite broadly. And in certain high-profile cases against well-known hip-hop artists, as well as in the highly publicized trial of R&B recording artist, former recording artist R. Kelly, who was found guilty of RICO and sex trafficking in 2021. But the government lawyers were unsuccessful in this instance. A racketeering conviction would have carried the most serious potential incarceration time for Combs, with a maximum sentence of up to life in prison. Convictions for the counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, one for Ventura and one for Jane, would have each carried a statutory minimum sentence of 15 years and up to life in prison. The 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, one regarding Ventura and male sex workers, and one regarding Jane and male sex workers, each carry a maximum sentence of 10 years. Outside of this federal criminal trial, Combs continues to face dozens of civil lawsuits by former employees and associates. Ventura, who brought a civil suit against Combs in November 2023, settled within 1 day for $20 million. As part of that settlement, Combs did not acknowledge any wrongdoing. In his professional heyday, Combs, who has won 3 Grammy Awards, was at the forefront of bringing hip hop to a mainstream pop audience and made himself face of the label he co-owned, Bad Boy Records. He also built an empire of related businesses, including the Sean John Fashion Company, a lucrative promotional partnership with the alcohol giant Diego, and a media business that included the once popular VH1 reality show, Making the Band, which featured him as impossibly demanding boss who frequently demeaned aspiring employees. So coming up, I'll save that for later. Thank you for watching. Never surrender, never quit.